Well, I was supposed to do a video about core values, which I'm still going to do. However, I had a situation yesterday that feel I need to share just to kind of capture the reality of it. I had I guess, panic level anxiety attack. Basically lasted the entire day yesterday. Really kind of my first breakdown since I was in inpatient care. And I was expecting one to happen at some point, but yesterday was just kind of a culmination of things that led there. For instance, there's just a lot of uncontrollable things that happen, obviously, in all of our lives, but there's more that are a little, they affect you more than others. So for me, it's work, it's things of that nature that just kind of compounded and created just a really shitty day of constant worry about things I had no control over. Led to like physical symptoms. Shaking. I had rapid heartbeat, and I was I was nauseous, and I just felt like I couldn't sit still. It was weird. I've known of my anxiety. I've never had something like that happen, and I think I know why. Um, Through therapy today, and just kind of the self awareness that I've had is in the past. So the old me, when anxiety presents itself, or when anything really presents itself, we have different protectors within us that are natural, that come out. So, for instance, it's no different than protecting yourself against like a physical ailment. So you have a shield, right? That's what this is. So for me, it would come out as anger. It would come out as irritability. That were protecting me from really feeling the full force of that anxiety. The bad part of that is that people around me feel that anger and they feel that irritability. So it's affecting others, and it's really not doing me any good. It's not actually protecting me. It thinks it is, but it's not. So that's why I never really associated with like a severe like panic attack or anxiety attack. I've never actually had one until yesterday, which the reason being is because I'm allowing it to, and that's okay. I was aware of what was going on. I knew the stressors right away. I knew them, but I couldn't really do anything about it. So I was trying to cope all day long, and it was just not working. Just not working. Everything that I normally do just wasn't working. And man, I felt so unproductive, and I felt like it was just like a waste. But something my therapist said that really stuck with me, and this is something we all need to kind of grasp. When you think of having a successful day, typically you set goals, right? You have goals or expectations, whether work related, life related, whatever. Sometimes I'm not going to say that's bad. That's good. It's good to strive for something. In this instance, though, the reason why I felt unproductive is because I physically, mentally could not shake this. So I felt unproductive. It didn't feel like I did anything, but she said something. She said, in those moments, you need to quit expecting yourself to operate the way that you normally would and hit those goals. When that happens, success is merely survival. You survive it. You get through it. You let those emotions, you let that anxiety, you feel it. You don't live there, and you move on from it. And that was big for me. That was really big because I'm usually really hard on myself, and I'll set some pretty crazy goals sometimes. And obviously, when I don't hit them, then I feel like a failure, and that cycle just goes. But that clicked something in me right away. That, you know what, yesterday, that's okay. That's okay to have one of them days where it feels like you're not able to do much, but you're still successful because you had this thing happen to you and you made it through. Maybe the coping skills didn't work. That's okay. There's going to be other ones that I'll attach to, different things that'll help me. But it's okay. It's okay just to have a day where you feel like you're just in survival mode. that should be something that's rather normal, especially in today's society and the way that our lives are just so crazy. That's okay. And I know people sometimes joke like, how was today for you? Well, I just survived. We make comments like that just to be funny or whatever, but it's the truth. Some days that's really what it is. Yesterday that was for me, and at the end of the day, um, this was building inside of me, building and building, and I could just feel it. Like my heart was just racing. I didn't have any sort of like panic breathing, but I was catastrophizing. Catastrophizing, is that a word? Everything in my head about things that aren't even happening because of the things that I couldn't control. So the way I internalize that is like, well, I have to play out the situation at the worst, so I'm ready for it. That's not good. I don't recommend doing that. But it caused rapid heartbeat, nausea, and things like that, and I just could not shake it. So at the end of the day, I went in my bedroom and just kind of like had a minute to just try to take a breath, lay down, turn the lights off, and lay with my dog, who's probably more anxious than I am, but that's okay. We can be anxious together. Um, and there was something, I have people that encourage me, and that's good. You should have that too. You should have people that know your struggle and will encourage you. Um, so I have people encouraging me, and there's one person in particular um, said something that kind of took me out of that funk. It made me realize that pit wasn't as deep as I was making it, and I could just take one step and get out of it. Said that you know things are going to try to trip me up. There are things in my life that are going to try to trip me up. Don't let it, is basically the culmination of that message. Very simple, nothing extravagant. That's just what it is. And I like that because it's very honest and it's very direct, and that's how I am. There are things that are going to try to trip me up. Don't let it. That's a small thing, but I reread that about 10 times, and that meant a lot to me. Helped me kind of get out of that hole. I got up, I had my period of sulking. I got up and I made dinner. And I felt like I was in just such a better mood because I was able to recognize that my anxiety's there. It affected me. And then now I'm not going to let it. I'm going to get up and I'm going to rise from this. And you got to know that it's going to be different for everybody. Some people have to have medical attention when they have anxiety attacks because it feels like a legit heart attack. And that's okay too. You are not crazy. People don't think that you're crying wolf. I would do the same thing. Okay, my left arm started hurting just a little bit, and I started freaking out a little bit. But so just know that those physical symptoms can mimic a heart attack. It's safe for you to do that, to get checked, okay? Because it probably could be. It potentially could cause a heart attack or something. The symptoms aren't, um, they're not exclusive of each other. So yesterday was kind of rough. Kind of felt the brunt of things, and when you go through something like what I did, and I don't look for sympathy or anything. I'm glad I went through that because it helped me a lot. But the people around you are like super super supportive, right? Like if you have a really good support system, they're going to be supportive for you. But there comes a period after the fact. This isn't wrong, but like the honeymoon phase is over, and it's like business as usual, which is fine. That's the way it should be. Life should kind of, it has this, and then it kind of sombers down, and that's okay. But you have to realize that just because it's business as usual or life as usual, your anxiety is still very real. It's going to affect you. The people around you have jobs, they have things they're going through as well. And so you can kind of get caught in that moment of like, I'm alone again, but you're really not. You have different coping skills now. You have a support group. You're starting to know yourself with personalities tests and things like that, and that's good. But you have to just you got to realize that life isn't just going to stop. When you have an anxiety attack, nobody hits the pause button. It keeps going. Okay? When you're at work, depending on the job you have, anxiety. You have to deal with the anxiety while you're working, and that's tough. Don't mask it. Okay? Don't allow anger to come over you. Don't allow yourself to be super irritable, because it's going to affect people around you and they're not going to want to be around you. And then you will be lonely. So when you're having an anxiety attack, it is okay to take a moment for yourself. Okay? That should be allowed. That should be normalized, because you need it. 5 minutes to go take a breath. They allow smoke breaks at work. They should allow anxiety breaks. So do that. Go to the bathroom. Oh, you probably don't want to deep breathe in there. That'd be gross. Go outside if it's not cold. Find a closet somewhere where you can just have some silence for yourself and just breathe in. My therapist mentioned box breathing, and if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's just a visual representation for your mind, that you visualize a box or a picture frame or whatever's around you that's square, and you breathe along how you would shape it. So you take a deep breath and you count 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and then you breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you take a deep breath 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just it's just a good way to calm your nerves. There's different ones out there, but that's a good deep breathing one. But don't allow some extreme emotion to overtake you, because then it's just going to cause more problems. And then you won't have as much help as you did, because people don't want to be around you. They don't know how to handle that. They want to, but there's some level where they just don't know how. And when it comes out as hostile, so if you're angry or irritable, even if you don't mean to be towards people, that still pushes them away, because we're all human. Stuff hurts. So don't allow anger or irritability or whatever overtake you. Just be aware that your anxiety's really high, okay? Be aware of it. Then try to calm yourself down through however you need, breathing exercises, whatever it needs to be. Then understand that it's okay. It's okay to feel that, but you got to know now, how do I cope with that? Okay? Anxiety is real for a lot of people, and there's 4 different levels. There's mild and moderate, which I consider the exact same. Then there's severe, where you're still able to function, just not near as good. And you have some of these physical and behavioral symptoms, but you're still able to do something, just not maybe, like, let's say half of what you're normal. And then there's panic level, where for some people it's a full-blown panic attack. You have to go to the emergency room, which is totally fine. You can't really function. It's debilitating. My anxiety yesterday was debilitating. It was rough. It sucked. And it comes out of nowhere sometimes, just in our own thinking, where one thing kind of triggers us and it just spirals out of control. It's like fuel to a fire. And you're not a failure when those things happen. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay, if somebody says, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" Just that's not cool. Don't ever say that to somebody. Just say, "Hey, it looks like something's going on. Can I help?" That's a little better response than "What's wrong with you?" But whatever, that's for another day. So, through this process, like I'm living this just as much as you are, and doing things like this helps me, because it kind of keeps me accountable to kind of keep my crap together. So I used to journal, and I do still journal, but when I'm in that moment of like just I just have horrible thinking and I write those things down, that doesn't really help me, because it like feeds it instead, because you want to capture those intrusive thoughts, right? And you want to get rid of them. So you can write them down, and that's very healthy for some people, and like, physically throw the paper away. But for me, it's easier to talk. It's easier for me to feel like I'm talking to somebody, because it kind of keeps me accountable that I can't live where my mind is. I gotta snap out of it. So this is very real for me. I'm on this journey just as much as the next person, and going through these things is real for all of us. Whatever, my dog's running over here. whatever whatever's ailing you, depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, whatever. Okay, just know that you're not doing this alone. I had a very real issue yesterday. Luckily, I have some good people around me that help me, and I really hope you do too. Um, but just know you're not alone. You know, these things are real. We're going to get through this together. You know, it's a slow process, but we're going to make baby steps, okay? Just remember to keep your feet firm on one step before you move to the next one. Use your handrail, you know, and we'll do this together. But I wanted to let you know what I experienced yesterday because I think it's something that needs to be said and talked about because, you know, it just doesn't get talked about. And anxiety is a real thing. You know, it feeds a lot of other things, and you have to recognize it, and you can't mask it. If you try to mask over this anxiety, all it's going to do is not allow you to validate your feelings and just kind of keeps your head spinning even more. And then you're going to become normal with that. And then you're just going to become a very angry and irritable person that nobody really wants to talk to. So don't put a mask on. Okay, I'm not saying like full on go the opposite way and just, you know, get in the fetal position on the floor. For some people that does happen. But just embrace what you're feeling. Don't stay there. Cope with it in healthy ways, and we're going to get through this together. Some days are going to be better than others. So I wanted to share this with you before we got further into this process because it's important to know that the grass just always isn't green. Okay, there's going to be some rough patches. There's going to be some brown spots that come up unexpectedly. And that was for me. That was me yesterday. So keep fighting the good fight. I'm going to keep posting things to help us. And just know you're not alone. These things are real. I really encourage if you don't have a therapist, get one because they're very helpful. If you don't have a good support system, get plugged in somewhere, whether a church group, whether some sort of support group, anything, okay? Don't isolate yourself because it's not good. So do these things, okay? Reach out to me on here. I can help. I'll help find something for you if you don't know where to go. There's plenty of resources out there and we'll find it together. So I'm going to write about my core values and kind of how that is relevant to my personality type. And this just kind of sets my foundation and allows me to be able to create some healthy coping skills to deal with my anxiety, to deal with my depression, to make this redefining of myself a lot easier because I know who I am at my core. So this is exciting. Yesterday sucked for me, but guess what? I woke up today. It's a new day. Gave anxiety the finger this morning, and here we are. So keep going. Just know that when you have a bad day, it's okay to have a bad day, but it's not okay to stay there. Okay, we're going to get out of this. Let's get out of this together. Let's move forward and conquer this together, okay? So I will post about my core values, kind of give you a roadmap on that, and we'll just keep going. All right, everybody. We'll see you.